What is going on, Box Bros? It's the Box Man here, and welcome back once again to another episode of the Rage's Cantina podcast. Today we have with us special guest Darth Varkor back to discuss the controversial Obi-Wan Kenobi show. We're going to be giving our thoughts and opinions on the show, so if you haven't finished it yet, I would recommend not watching this episode. We'll be talking about what we liked about the show, what we didn't like about the show, and in the end, we'll give a final rating. As always, guys, thanks so much for tuning into the Rage's Cantina podcast, voted the #1 new Star Wars podcast of all time.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Star Wars Rage's Cantina podcast. I'm joined once again by my good buddy Tomba. What's up, Tomba?
Hello.
And of course, the man himself once again is joining us, Darth Varkor. How you doing, Varkor?
Hello there.
Hello there. Perfect. So perfect for this episode because we're going to be mostly talking about the Obi-Wan show, how we feel about it, and just all that good stuff. I gotta say, from my personal standpoint, love Star Wars. I don't know if I can consider this show canon at the end of the day because of all the plot hole problems that came up. You know, I want to hear your guys' opinions, though. I know there's a lot of defense of some of the so-called plot holes, so we'll go with you first, Varkor. What do you think overall?
Overall, I found it enjoyable. I'd probably give it maybe a 7 overall out of 10. I think the last couple of episodes did a lot to increase that for me. In particular, the last episode I really enjoyed. I'm interested to see what you think, what specific plot holes you have in mind. For me, it was just lots of stupid little things like just like the goofiness of like when those guys were chasing Leia and getting her out of the base under the coat. Lots of stupid little things like that. Those were the main things I took a lot of problems with. But I found it enjoyable overall, and I think the last 2 episodes really saved it in my opinion.
Okay. What about you, Tom? What did you think of the show as a whole?
Didn't like it at first. Like the first 3, maybe 4 episodes.
Right.
Were just very lackluster, and as you said, full of plot holes, and just didn't have that Star Wars feel to it. And the only episodes that I really think had the Star Wars feel to it, probably just one episode, and that was the most recent one. Because in the episode before the last one, it makes no sense that Vader would just stab her and leave her there. He would kill her.
That is one of the major issues I have. I don't know if it's a plot hole. It kind of is. I mean, it's just not usually how Vader does things. Like, he wouldn't just leave her for dead. I think he would finish her off.
He doesn't have mercy. He's lethal. And
and
doesn't make sense.
I understand why he first stabs her through the gut, so then the Grand Inquisitor can come in and give her his shit talk. But why they left her alive afterwards, I think the way I kind of saw it was she is so far below him. Even the Grand Inquisitor is so far below him. He's like, oh, do you know what? Fuck this. You can deal with it. If you want to let her just bleed to death here, whatever. That's the only way I can think of it.
Yeah, she didn't, though. It's like she survived the stab wound, right?
That's what I mean. Everyone is starting to survive these stabs to the gut.
And she survived it when she was a Padawan, too?
That really confused me. I was thinking, surely she didn't survive that. I would have thought she would just hid in a room somewhere or something, or...
It pisses me off that she survived the stab wound twice. Because they killed off my boy Qui-Gon so fast.
Qui-Gon's just sat there in the afterlife I see.
Everyone's just surviving these stab wounds. I'm just like, well, what did Maul do differently? I don't know.
And then, of course, Qui-Gon shows up at the very end. It's great and all. I love seeing him, don't get me wrong. But at the very end, last scene of the whole thing, I was literally, the whole episode, I was like, well, I guess we're not freaking getting Qui-Gon. That was, the one thing I really wanted to see. But then they did give it to me at the end. It was one of the few things I took away from the show that I really did enjoy.
I always had the feeling he was going to show up at the end. I didn't think he'd be in it a lot.
I think that they're using that to build up to a season 2. where I'm anticipating that season 2 will be something along the lines of, still on the run from the Empire. He's gonna take Rev out under his wing as his Padawan.
Oh no.
I guess.
God forbid.
Because
No.
let's not forget when he was at that base on Jabim or whatever the fuck, he picked up a lightsaber. Like, he picked it up and he put it on his belt like a random lightsaber.
Yeah.
So that's just floating around. He's gonna do something with that, and then Qui-Gon shows up at the end. So it's just gonna be him and Qui-Gon teaching him lessons, and they're probably gonna discuss the events of episode 1 and episode 3. There's a conversation that needs to happen, which is,
see, I can't see them bringing Liam Neeson back a lot more.
Well, no, he said
Yeah,
that he's
old.
happy to return.
He old.
I thought the thing I saw when there was the rumors he was going to be in it, he said he was a bit of a snob and he would only want to do a film. So I could see them blagging him to come in for one cameo at the end here.
That's interesting.
But I don't know if they could convince him to come up for a whole season just to sit on like a green screen and be a Force ghost.
Like,
I don't know.
That's interesting though. If he had that like disposition that he only wanted to do a film, but he still came and did this one clip.
He said he only did this because he didn't want anyone else to play Qui-Gon, from what I remember. So he felt like he owed it to the fans to do this little cameo type thing.
Anyway, that was the first time he's been Qui-Gon since episode 1. Like live action. That was the first time.
Yeah.
How many years is that? It's gotta be like almost 30 years now.
Not 30, 99, like 20, 21 years, 23. 23 years.
Jesus, we're old boys.
Yeah, he doesn't really age though, Liam Neeson, does he? He's kind of set in that middle.
I could tell he was old. You could hear it in his voice that he was a little older, but I don't
know what it was. It just, even though I'm not a massive prequel fan, seeing him at the end, it didn't get me a little bit teary because he was kind of that little ribbon on top at the end. If it's a one-off series, I thought it was such a good way to end it with him.
See, it's like this is how I describe the show. You know how when you get a really good movie and there's something negative in the movie that you really don't like, and you describe it as like a turd in a punch bowl? Well, this movie is like a punch bowl in a turd.
Punch bowls.
Like, it's like 90% of it is like crap, and then like you got these really awesome parts sprinkled in. So it's like a sprinkled up turd, and like, so it's really hard for me to enjoy the good stuff when like it's just surrounded by like identity politics stuff, and then you got all the plot holes, the lazy writing, the stuff that just doesn't make sense. I don't know, it's hard for me to enjoy it, and it just, some of it doesn't feel like Star Wars, some of it does. It's weird, it's like all mixed together. But
I think there was definitely like peaks to it. I can't say I watched any of them and thought this is particularly bad. There were points where I thought, okay, this is all right, and then you're right, there were moments that skyrocketed in comparison to it. I think the lowest point for me probably was the third episode, because that had the most stupid things in it, like the little laser gate checkpoint, and just these odd little decisions in them that I really questioned why they did them.
Like, he could have just walked around it. Like, he literally could have just walked. And then the fire with Vader is, I think, the silliest thing.
That really, I was talking to my friend about that. I said, like, Vader just watched him. Like, he just watched this droid pick him up and take him away. Like, why didn't he just grab him and pull him?
It makes no sense. It's like Vader has no urgency. Obi-Wan had no urgency in the whole show. He was, like, second fiddle in his own show. Like, the whole time. It was like, I don't know. And then you got...
There could have been a very good, I think, 3-hour film in there somewhere. If someone was to, like, cut it, which I'm sure someone would at some point, cut it down into a film.
It could have been, yeah. It could have been a 90-minute film. Very easily. Very easily it could have been a 90-minute film, but... Instead,
I think even from this series, you could probably cut a film out of it.
Do you remember the scene that really bugged us when we watched it, where that chick. I don't
She
remember her
slapped
name.
the stormtrooper's helmet and it like knocked
She
him
just-
out.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what is
like,
this?
That was so goofy.
Like,
She
what
just
is
slapped
it?
the
And then,
helmet and then knocked out.
and then, of course, people defend it and go, "Well, Star Wars has always been goofy." Like, are you like, no, dude? Like, people gotta have a
It's like-
higher standard for their
Like,
Star Wars.
yeah,
dude.
Star Wars has always been goofy. I don't think it's necessarily an excuse to keep repeating goofy little odd things, which, you know, the original Star Wars, that film was fucking held together by glue and sellotape, basically. We don't really have the excuse anymore when Disney is chucking so much money at these productions.
Millions and millions of dollars, and
There was
Disney
that.
can't, like...
There was when she slapped the guy on the helmet, and then, you know, like 5 minutes before that, when that officer takes her off to one side, and then she like chokes him out. I swear they cut back to it too soon, because it looks like both actors have stood there for a second waiting for their mark, and then they start doing the choke. I was like, wait, what? Why did that happen?
Oh,
Why was he
wow.
already facing away from her? It looked really odd to me when I was watching it.
I didn't even notice that at all.
Yeah,
That's,
I had to
wow.
rewind it. I don't know if I was just seeing things, but it just looked like they were both stood there for a second, like, okay, and action.
Yeah, it's like, that was episode 4, wasn't it? It's like episode 3
Yeah.
and episode 4 was like the worst part.
They
of the
were.
show.
I did enjoy episode 4 because we got just the little bits of Obi-Wan running around the corridors, and you could see his Jedi powers coming back. I was like, okay, I'm liking this stuff. It feels like something out of Fallen Order, but there was also the really goofy bits like that.
I feel like the last episode was the only good episode.
I'm
I
trying to,
enjoyed the fifth one.
trying to figure out what was the point of the whole like frozen Jedi thing. Like, why were all the Jedi frozen down there, or I don't know if they're dead or frozen or what, but like,
I think
Who
they're
knows?
frozen. I think it's like carbonite freezing, but not carbonite. You know, like some kind of
it
stasis.
was like they were
or
in
something.
sap, like the fucking mosquitoes in Jurassic Park or
I don't
some
know if you
shit.
guys have seen Red Letter Media's
I
review
saw
of
some
the first
weird.
episodes, and they said it's so they can now bring back anyone they want anytime in the future Disney projects.
Probably, but no. I saw a weird theory where like it said that Fortress Inquisitorius, which is that place, was apparently being ran on a battery of Force sensitives.
What?
I was like, that makes no sense.
That's not how the Force works.
Yeah, you can buy a Jedi battery.
That's just silly. No, that's. It's like they always want to change like core fundamentals of like how things work in Star Wars, and it's like they got to stop, because the more they do that, the more they turn it into not Star Wars.
Just think, there's a poor guy out there who, when there's a novelization or the Wikipedia article, he's got to make sense of all of it and write it up in a coherent format.
And that's another thing. Oh, that's another thing, Varkor, I really want to talk about, is how the writer for this show, and they found this out. I was watching Theory's stream when he found out, and he was all freaking out about it. That the writer for this show didn't even watch like the movies, like the prequels or. Yeah, no, he like.
Who was the writer for this?
Why do they do
I
that?
don't remember his name, but like they just got a writer who doesn't know shit about Star Wars. Like,
It was that chick Deborah Chow, wasn't
no,
it?
it wasn't a
she's the
girl. It was,
director.
it was a guy. It was a guy. And
Oh, Joby Harold.
that's it. Yeah, and
He's English as well. Oh.
and he didn't know anything. He had to keep asking people like, is this okay, is that okay, is this okay? And of course there's going to be continuity mess ups when people don't know like shit about nothing. Like, why? I don't understand. Disney has all this money that we give them, and they can't, like, it's just, I don't get it. Like, why do you hire like a writer that doesn't know Star Wars for Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi, like one of the biggest, like I get it. I get that some people still enjoy this show, and if you do, that's fine. I'm not mashing on you, whatever. You can enjoy it, but I just feel like it could have been 1,000 times better than what we got. Like, we got like a disheveled, wrinkled up, shitty version of how good it could have been. Like, this could have been a masterpiece, and instead they hired a guy that just doesn't know Star Wars, and then we get all these, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'm literally looking at this article now. It says he had to speak to Pablo Hidalgo about
Yes.
whether
Yeah.
Kenobi knew if Vader was Anakin or something.
Pablo Hidalgo of all people that makes fun of the
When he
fans
has to
for,
correct you.
yeah, that's
He doesn't even know if Vader is Anakin. I guess he's never watched any Star Wars.
Ah, fucking hell.
so that's why like there's so many issues with the show. That's it. It's the core. It's the root of the issue right there.
I never even knew that. I was thinking something seems a bit off with the writing, but
So
It just seems like every time they do Star Wars projects, they get someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
you know what it is.
and yet they've done it perfectly fine with The Mandalorian.
That's because it's Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and they were like, Dave in particular, he was a direct apprentice to George. Like, he was right under George. He knows everything about, like, the heart of Star Wars. You see, Star Wars has, like, a heart to it. It's not like your normal sci-fi, like Star Trek or any of the other ones. It's not like that. You see, the newer Star Wars, they try to make it about the sci-fi. And George has said many times in many interviews, right, that it's not about the sci-fi. It's about the relationships of people and, like, family and, like, good versus evil and that type of stuff. And the sci-fi is just there as a backdrop, as, like, an interesting backdrop. And so, and it's like a space opera or a space western or all that stuff combined, and that's what it's really supposed to be. And instead, though, now it's like they make it more of your average action sci-fi adventure. And while that's good with other series, it's not quite what Star Wars is supposed to be. And so there's just something off about it when it's not like the original trilogy and it's not like the prequels or anything else that George created, because he had a different heart in it when he made it. And so, but again, though, The Mandalorian, I think... I'm
struggling to wrap my head around that with the writer. I would have thought that.
The Mandalorian, though...
Everyone involved.
I think that has the heart of Star Wars in it, and that's why so many people enjoy it. Because
I think out of all the Disney products, it's obviously been the most sort of universally acclaimed, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's like, I think Mandalorian and Rogue One are probably the top two things that, like, people enjoy the most that Disney actually put out. And Rogue One was like their first big attempt, and I think that's why, like, they really tried. And now it's like, I think they realized at some point, like, oh, well, we can just milk this thing, like, we don't have to try, because they don't. Like, we'll eat it up every time. There's so many shill Star Wars fans. Okay, listen, I love you guys, I love all Star Wars fans, but there are so many shills that, like, no matter what they put out, if it breaks continuity or not, if it doesn't have the heart or not, and they don't care, they will eat it up, and they'll be like, oh, Disney, you're so great. And it's like, okay, if you enjoy it, if you can find a way to enjoy it, that's good for you. But then it's like the rest of us fans that care about the mythos and care about the canon and don't want to see things just willy-nilly thrown about. Now it's like we suffer. So it's like, screw the hardcore fans, because we have this big well of, like, people that'll buy it no matter what. And so they can just do whatever they want. They don't have to hire a writer that actually knows what they're doing. They don't have to, you know, really be as meticulous as George was, because that's another thing about George Lucas. He was really meticulous when it came to Star Wars. Like, everything had to be perfect. He would do reshoots, like, over and over and over, and he could do it too because it was always funded by him, because he was rich from the first movie. So he wasn't shackled by Hollywood. He had his own production company with his own, you know, what's called lights and magic and all that, and
industrial magic.
He could do whatever he wanted and be as meticulous as he wanted, and that's why the old movies and the prequels too are so perfect, and they have that essence of Star Wars in them, because
he has
George,
a certain eye for detail that they can't replicate. And
people want to bash George and say that, like, oh, his directing is terrible because, like, the lines in the movies are funny, and especially, like, this is a big misconception, because people will always make fun of the prequels, but if you go back to the original trilogy, people say just as awkward lines in the original trilogy as in the prequels sometimes. Like, a lot of people don't see it.
Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford, they'd refuse to say the lines that he wrote sometimes. This is the thing, I think Georgie's got an incredible imagination. He's a storyteller. I don't think he's necessarily the best director in the world, because he's not the best at getting the right performances out of actors, but he has got that mind and that vision for it. And that's why I think films like Empire work best, because you've got him as the overall guiding hand for the story, and then you get a talented director like Irving Kershner to sort of, you know, fine-tune it, essentially, and they collab together, and that's why Empire, to me, objectively, is the best Star Wars film of all time, because you've got this perfect combination of the two.
Yeah, that is true. But I think one of the things that George did with the old movies, the prequels, and everything is, and, like, one of the most iconic, like, what's like one of the most iconic things about Star Wars that you can truly think of, like, when it comes to, I guess, not like the acting or any scenes in particular, but, like, I'll just skip to it. What it is the sounds. It's the sounds. Like you can hear a sound like a blaster going off and you know it's Star Wars immediately, or like a hyperdrive booting up, or a ship passing by,
or Vader's breathing,
right. It's like there's so many iconic sounds, but you know what's incorporated into those sounds is the dialogue. The dialogue are also sounds that are iconic, because again, it's a space opera. It's not supposed to be like, Star Wars isn't supposed to be like really fluid acting like would normally be. It's like one-off lines that are very memorable and quotable, and that's why the prequels more than anything are so quotable with all their memes, because it's like you can remember. Go ahead.
Oh no, just saying, Revenge of the Sith is just revenge of the meme. It is.
Yeah.
I think that is the most memeable film of all.
And Phantom Menace.
Because there's
Phantom Menace,
there's so many quotable lines, because that's what George focused on more than I guess the acting in itself. It's
do you really think that was intentional though, or do you think it just happened to be that way from how the actors delivered the lines?
I think it was intentional, yeah, because George said many times he considers Star Wars a space opera. It's like it's an operatic thing.
But for example, like when he wrote the line from Newt Gunray, like, this is getting out of hand now, there's 2 of them. Do you think he really thought, yeah, the kids are gonna love this, they're gonna make memes out of this?
No, it's not about the memes. The memes come as a side effect of it.
Or like, do you think he's gonna think, people are gonna be quoting this for years?
He just wants to make lines memorable. That's what it is.
Right. It's about
he doesn't want any individual's dialogue to be lackluster.
Like, have you guys ever seen an opera? Like, have you ever been to an opera?
I haven't. No, I can't say I've got much desire to go to that.
I've seen Phantom of the Opera.
Right. Well, in an opera, they don't act like they would on Broadway. They come out and they'll say the line. It's like a Shakespearean thing. Like, they'll come out and they'll say the line, and the next person will say the line, and it's like, and the line is such a powerful thing, like what they're saying, because it conveys, like, it perfectly conveys the story and keeps it going. And it's like, that's what's more important than somebody acting as if it was a real moment, as if it was like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's not meant to be taken like real life. Like, it's not meant to be taken like I guess people want like candidness, and that makes sense and all for most movies, but in Star Wars it's not supposed to be candid. It's a fantasy world, and again, it's supposed to be like an opera, and so the lines are meant to be given in such a way to where it's not like, it's so hard to explain, I guess, but
no, I get what you mean. But I mean, I'm not sure I completely agree with the originals, because there's a lot of scenes in the originals where there's a lot of sort of less operatic dialogue and a lot more down-to-earth stuff, and I think that's the thing the prequels is missing. It's fine having those moments, but I think you need some of the more down-to-earth bits to sort of reinforce the humanity of the characters.
That's true. You can have a nice balance, but that's what I'm just saying. That my ultimate point here is that that's a lot of the misconception of George's work, is that they think he's just a bad writer, when in reality he was just trying to make it more operatic.
Yeah, I mean,
like an opera.
Speaking from experience, writing dialogue is fucking hard, so I don't envy him having to do it. So
just imagine for like a whole movie, a whole trilogy. But
no, I mean, I've partially just done that, but not to the same extent he did.
I just want to go slightly off topic and make a really odd and specific comment about the Obi-Wan show.
Sure.
Something that bugged me personally, and it's very odd and specific. If they had a director who knew what they were doing and knew all about Star Wars, right?
Writer, you mean?
Writer, sorry.
Yeah.
Then they may have actually had a new pod racing scene, because it was on Tatooine, right? That was like a missed opportunity for me. They could have done a pod racing scene, because Owen literally says something about Luke breaking the belt on his speeder or something. Like, they could have had a pod racing scene.
I don't know if the pod races are still going on anymore. Like, I think they stopped after Gardula the Hutt died, and like after Jabba took over, I don't know if he continued them. I don't know.
No,
I think that was the canon.
The pod races. I know. We had one movie where those pod races, and then it was just like done.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like the pod race because they feel like it doesn't have anything to do with the main plot, which I disagree completely, because I mean, it's a plot, like what would you call it?
a filler, but it shows his aptitude for the Force in the first movie.
Well, that and it's
It does go on quite a while.
it's how he wins his freedom. Like if Anakin didn't win that pod race, everything in the whole universe would be different. Like he would have never been freed unless Qui-Gon took him by force, but I don't think he was going to do that. He would have never been freed. They would have, who knows how long they would have been stuck on Tatooine. They would, you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't have become Darth Vader more than likely. It just, everything would have been different. So like that moment was like, you know, another pivotal moment in the history of the universe pretty much. But so that's like why it's such a tense moment. But most people are just like, oh, it doesn't have anything to do with the whole story. Like he could have won his freedom some other way. But it's like, but what's more exciting than a fucking race? Like I thought I
can appreciate the scene because obviously at the time it would have been like a technical marvel, like a scene like that in 99.
I was blown away, dude. That's what got me into Star Wars.
It spawned a great video game as well. So yeah, I don't hate the pod race. Yeah, I can take or leave it.
But that's literally when I saw the pod race stuff on the commercials in 1999. That's what made me want to watch Star Wars. So if it wasn't thanks to the pod race, maybe I wouldn't have gotten into it as much as I did. Yeah, I saw the commercials and I was like, yo, I want to watch this. And I think I told you guys in the last episode, because of that, I watched the original trilogy thinking that the pod race was somewhere in there, and it wasn't. And I did enjoy it, of course, but at the end I was like, yo, where the hell was the pod race scene? Like, where was all that stuff? And then, you know, lo and behold, it was episode 1. By the time I figured it out, episode 1 wasn't in theaters anymore, so I didn't get to see it in theaters. But I got it on VHS and watched it, and yeah, so. But back onto the topic of the Obi-Wan show. So another thing I wanted to mention was, I wish that, remember in episode 5 when they had the flashbacks of Anakin and Obi-Wan dueling and all that?
Very old looking Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, dude, he's like the 40-year-old teenager, dude. Like,
he looks old. He looks like he should be teaching Obi-Wan.
Dude, and it's like, what I don't get is literally the next day, and
I think I know what you're gonna say.
I'm about to get passionate here. A random YouTuber literally made him look exactly how he looked in episode 2. Like, just some random dude in his underwear, probably in his fucking basement, could do what Disney could not. It makes no sense, dude.
Yeah, I can't understand that.
I just don't get it. Like, what are you doing, Disney? Don't you think that this stuff matters? Like, don't you, like, he's got crow's feet, my dude. Like, he doesn't. Oh, I don't get it.
What if, I've just thought of this now, what if the reason they didn't do that is because that scene was a reshoot at the last minute?
It could have been.
They thought, oh shit, we've got no flashbacks, it's with the prequels. Oh, what's that? Oh, this needs 6 weeks to run through our de-aging thing, whatever. We haven't got time for that.
6 weeks? No, again, no, that's not an excuse because this dude did it in like a day.
No, I agree with that. I'm saying maybe on their timeline, if I'm right and they had to do it as a last minute reshoot, maybe they thought, oh shit, we haven't got the time now. Let's just wing it with him looking 40.
I guess, but then that's just, either way, that's bad. Like, they don't got the right people.
Yeah.
They don't got a guy that can swoop in and be like, yo guys, I can make him look young in like 6 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah. I can make it happen. Like, they don't have somebody like that because I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're not hiring the right people. I mean, that's obvious from the writer thing. They're not hiring the right people. I don't know. And so it's just like, this show could have been so good if they would have did things.
It did baffle me because it's annoying because in the Order 66 flashbacks, it doesn't look as bad because in episode 3, Anakin looks like shit anyway. He's already got the bags under the eyes and, you know,
he's got the hood up. He's got his hood up and everything.
So it didn't look too bad. But episode 2, it's episode 2, like pretty boy Anakin from 2002 versus this.
Yeah. He was like, how old was he? Like 18 or something?
Oh, I want to say he's about 20, 21 or something.
He was pretty young, yeah.
Yeah.
So they should have, like, his face just looks, even if you like clean up the wrinkles or whatever, which I'm sure they did to some degree, his face still looks like wider than it was back then. So it just doesn't look right. So, but that's what the guy did. He like skinnied up his face, cleaned up all the extra shit, and he looked perfect. I was like, yo, there he is.
That's the thing, because I feel like Ewan McGregor has got that kind of ability where he can fit back into episode 2 Obi-Wan, and then he can also pull off the post Revenge of the Sith look. at the
Yeah.
same time. Like he's very like, whereas I said, I noticed it even from the interviews. It's like, man, Hayden Christensen is looking old now.
He doesn't age quickly. Yeah.
It's the beard. The beard helps a lot. Like,
Yeah.
so.
I guess you could say that, the attempt on Anakin's life left him deformed and scarred.
The attempt on my life. That's how I feel after watching this show. The attempt on my life. So and then you got the whole thing with Reva. Like it's just I feel like overall she's a poorly written character and didn't need to be in the show. Like I just feel like she doesn't really bring that much to the show at all. Like she was just there to cause some problems. Like that
didn't need to be in it. I agree with that. I didn't dislike her, but I feel like that's only because I could so easily predict what her whole deal was going to be with, her being a survivor from the Jedi Temple. So
yeah.
I wish it hadn't been so predictable with her.
Like we all knew she was going to get a redemption thing.
Yeah, and this is the sad bit. When in that final episode, when it kept cutting away from their fight back to Reva going after Luke, I was like, I just don't care. Like I know Luke's going to be fine. Like.
There's no urgency, no edge of your seatness to it. It's just
okay, you could say the same with Vader and Obi-Wan, but we knew that they were going to have some sort of face-to-face kind of. It's the dialogue. I think everyone was there for with Obi-Wan and Anakin, wasn't it?
Oh, for sure. But that's the thing. It's like right in the middle of their fight, it cuts to Reva, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like it
was messing up with the pace.
Yeah, the one thing I'm like, I was into it, like face pressed into the screen, like getting into it. I was like, "Oh shit, dude!" And then boom, cuts to Reva. Like the next scene, like it's just suddenly Reva's in my face. I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What are you doing, Disney?" Like what?
But I tell you what, it did give you though.
Yeah,
Owen and Beru, they can fucking fight.
Yeah, dude.
They put up a fight.
I did appreciate that. I like the one-off line that he had when she was like, "Oh, you're protecting him like he's your own," and he's like, "He is my own." Like I was like, "Oh,
that's given me a newfound appreciation for them." And then when they literally, she does it. She comes through the door, and I swear, Beru just like jumps down and punches her in the face or something.
Well, they were shooting at her at first, and then Owen was like, he was like dueling her with a big piece of he hit her in her stab wound, which I really don't know how she's able to walk, let alone fucking fight. But
I guess that's probably why she was so weak against them, because of that.
He was like fighting her with a fucking big metal pole, and she's got a lightsaber.
I enjoyed it for that because I was thinking, Jesus Christ, like they are not fucking about.
Dude, I wish Owen had a vibroblade and like he was actually dueling her with the vibroblade.
He starts spamming flurry and critical strike.
I would have lost it, dude. But it's just like, it's silly because it's like then Luke had to run from her, and it just, I don't feel like it's something that happened to Luke. I just don't feel like, because it's like, hey Luke, remember that time when you got chased in the desert by some fucking woman with a lightsaber and you got knocked out, and you remember all that? Like it's just
he got conveniently knocked out just before he sees her, so
and everybody was saying
actually see a lightsaber.
Right, they were like, Luke can't see the lightsaber because the first time he sees it is obviously episode 4. So if he sees a lightsaber, and then some people want to argue and say maybe he might have saw it, or he might have saw the red glow or something, but it's like, I don't think that matters as much, but
should have easily gone around that by just having the Grand Inquisitor take her saber when they killed her, and she's going after Luke just using the Force or something.
But here's my big gripe. My big gripe is that Reva even like had the option to kill Luke. Like she could have killed Luke. Like she was right there. She was thinking about doing it, and then she decided that she's not going to do it. Which I don't know why she wanted to do it to begin with. I guess to get back at Vader or something.
This is something I wanted to ask you too, because it really confused me. Did I miss something? How did she actually find out that was Vader's son? Because all she saw was a hollow thing of Bale saying about something on Tatooine. How did she suddenly go, I reckon it's a kid, and I reckon it's Darth Vader's kid?
Yeah,
How did she know that?
I don't know. I have no clue. Bad writing is probably the answer. Yeah, once again, bad writing.
Well, I thought she just got a tip off that something was on Tatooine.
I don't know. She just she watched the hologram of Bale and just she figured out that there was a kid.
She could have jumped to conclusions because she knew Obi-Wan.
Jump, though. That's a really big jump.
She knew Obi-Wan quite well. She obviously knew that Anakin was his apprentice. She says, you should have stopped him. She knows that Anakin's Vader. So she might have like put two and two together that, you know, that was Anakin's kids. But then saying
When did she think Anakin got to having a child? Like,
well, no, that's what I'm saying. Saying that, no one but Obi-Wan knows that Padme and Anakin did the dirty.
that's the thing.
know?
Like, it'd be more logical if she thought, oh, Bail Organa's got like a secret child on Tatooine or something. But I don't know why she'd care about that.
It'd be more logical if she thought it was Obi-Wan's.
Or Obi-Wan. Oh, actually, yeah, maybe even Obi-Wan's child.
But it doesn't make sense. It's like she wants, like, her whole arc, and I'll try to get to what I was gonna say before, but her whole arc is like, her redemption arc doesn't make sense, because it's like she was a Padawan, right? And then she almost got killed, which again doesn't make sense how she survived the stab wound, or how they left her for dead in the temple. Like, what happened? Did they capture her when they found out she was still alive, or did she run away? And I don't know. Like,
she says she was stabbed. She hid in the bodies of the other Padawans.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing that when she came to, everyone was gone. But that doesn't make any sense.
So then she wasn't, because I thought it would have made more sense if she was captured, if they captured her, like, oh look, she lived, and maybe we could make her into an Inquisitor or whatever. They captured her, and then
it's another plot hole though. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But look, put yourself into the position of the 501st for a minute, right? Operation Nightfall, you're killing all the Jedi, right? They're all dead. Temple's cleared out. You're not just gonna leave. You're gonna sit there and wait for the other Jedi who are getting the message.
They did. They left a battalion behind. Like, there was a garrison station at the temple. Yeah. That's who Yoda and Obi-Wan are fighting when they return to the temple, and they fucking murder all of them.
So technically, troops are there all the time. So again, how did she escape?
I don't know. Makes no sense. But it's like, so she does escape, whatever, and decides that she somehow gets further training in the Force. Don't know how, from a Padawan. Trains herself in the Force magically. Decides, I'm going to join the Inquisitors so I can get close to Vader to get vengeance, right? But then has a vendetta with Obi-Wan for some reason, and is like really wanting to search for him. So she joins the Inquisitors, searches for Obi-Wan, like somehow finds out about Leia and Bail and him being connected.
Yeah, that was the first big convenience.
That doesn't make any sense. And then it's like, and then it's like, so she does all this. So basically it's like she's pretending to be bad so she could get close to Vader, but then she goes around chopping people's hands off, hanging Jedi, and then killing Jedi, and then threatening people's lives, and just being all around evil. But it's like, so are you like a really good improv fucking actor, or are you just
she's gone method?
Yeah, like a method actor. That's what I meant. Like, yeah. I don't know. It's like, or I guess she was like really actually dark side, like joining the Inquisitors actually turned her to the dark side a little bit, but like her original mission was still to kill Vader. I guess that could be a way to explain it. I
forgot that bit for a moment, that she joins them to kill Vader. I always assumed that she would have been captured and, you know...
That's what I initially thought.
You know, basically, it feels like they literally played Fallen Order, saw what they did with Trilla, and thought, we'll just kind of copy that.
It literally is Trilla all over again.
Unlike Jedi Fallen Order, and this is a problem with a lot of Disney Star Wars, it never properly explains the backstory to these things, so we have no idea where a lot of these characters come from or how certain things have happened to them.
Like, Trilla was written better, though. Like, she was just
Trilla was a great... Just Jedi Fallen Order in general is just heads and shoulders above a lot of recent Star Wars content. It's ridiculous.
I'm looking forward to the
probably the best thing EA put out, honestly, after they lost, before they lost their license.
Yeah. Well, they had to get something right in the end.
Yeah, right.
So, I read something the other day, and I wanted to float this idea to you.
Hold on,
see what you guys thought.
What up, big boy?
Hold that thought. I just want to get out my one point with Luke and the thing that really makes me angry the most. So hold that thought. Let me get it out. So Reva chases Luke right into the desert, and she can kill him, but she decides not to because she gets redeemed or whatever, and she brings him back. And the whole thing with like Obi-Wan coming in at the last minute is so silly, because it's like he literally like flies across the universe in like 2 minutes somehow. Like, he gets the Tatooine from where he was fighting Vader like instantaneously. Like, I don't know how the hell they could explain that, but Maybe it was a
And
different
it's like
time
space.
frame or something.
1 minute it takes weeks, 1 minute people jump there in seconds. It changes all the time in Star Wars.
It doesn't. I don't know. But anyway, so then he flies in, and they're all looking for him, and they don't know. And anyway, so then Reva brings him back. So it's like, so basically, and of course, we can thank the whole original trilogy to Reva. It's like, like that's like a big punch in the gut to me, dude. It's like, hey,
you can apply that logic to a lot of characters. Like, you can thank the entire Star Wars saga to Jar Jar Binks being in the right spot at the right time in Episode 1.
yeah, I guess, but it's still,
He's
it's
also
like,
the reason.
it's just, it's such a punch in the gut, because it's like, you know, hey, like, she could have killed Luke and ended the whole thing, but she didn't, because she had her little redemption arc, and now it's like, now you can thank Reva for Episode 4 through 6.
Yeah, her redemption came about way too quickly.
It doesn't make sense either. The whole thing
basically.
just doesn't make any sense to me. It's just,
If she'd have
people,
died,
she's killing people as an Inquisitor, and then and then she brings Luke, and she's like, I didn't kill him, and it's like SpongeBob. It's like, we did it, Patrick. We saved the city. It's like,
you know, if she'd have died when she brought Luke back, like she finally succumbed to like the massive stab in her stomach, I don't know if it might have felt a little bit better. But this way, it's just kind of, yeah, I decided not to kill him.
It would have made sense.
I'm just gonna disappear off into the galaxy. You can trust me to keep this secret.
no, yeah, no. See, yes, it's like she has all those secrets now, and she just.
Well, it's because she's gonna get I keep calling it Reva, a Disney story next year on Disney Plus.
Yeah, this was already Reva, a Disney story, but no, but it would have made sense. You know why? Because like, you could have said that the reason she survived the stab wound was because of the dark side holding her together. Because that's like a thing, and then as soon as she turned to because that's how Scion died. He turned to the light side in the very end,
go of his anger,
and he died because of it. So it's like the same thing. She let go of her anger. She turned back to the light, and then she dies from the stab wound finally. So they could have did that. They should have did that, but of course they don't know shit about Star Wars, so they didn't.
Disney's gonna say some stupid shit like, oh, you know, she turned to the light side and the Force healed her, you know.
No, that's not how the Force works.
Even the sequels at least showed Rey physically healing someone. Like in this case, it's just the Force just did it.
Like magically, like without any like Force heal is not something you can just do. Like only very few Jedi can master it, and it's not like something that can just be used willy-nilly or automatically. Like there's no fucking automatic regen going on here, like freaking HK-47's upgrade, but which a lot of people sleep on, by the way. Go ahead, Thomas. What was your original thing you were gonna say?
Right. So keep in mind that when I say this, right, Disney's the one that's going to be at the helm of this idea. So
can't wait.
You know, because they own Star Wars. So, you know, as good as this idea sounds, remember it's Disney that's leading the charge. Someone floated the idea of, you know how lately in a lot of like Marvel and DC movies they've been floating the whole multiverse thing, right?
No.
Like the alternate reality thing. Someone floated the idea of what if we had like a Star Wars series where they did everything in reverse. Like Qui-Gon fell to the dark side, Count Dooku was good, Obi-Wan got tempted to the dark side, Anakin was like a good Darth Vader, like in the suit, like Palpatine was the good guy and Yoda was the bad guy, and Mace Windu was a Sith, like Darth Windu or something. Like would you want to see that?
No.
Would you want to see or like mirror
It sounds like
image?
a cool idea, or like a comic or something, but
they
had
like a what if
Han
story
Solo.
comic. That's fine and all, but I wouldn't want to see it like a whole movie or series.
no, I'd rather see it done in a Clone Wars style animation or something, not as a live action.
They would
show.
have to, because they can't bring all them people back.
True.
Like
True.
for the earlier stuff.
Someone drew fan art of like Han Solo, like flying like a black Falcon called the Imperial Falcon, with like TIE fighters behind him, and I don't know. The idea seemed kind of cool for like a show, but I don't know. With Disney, this is the problem with Disney. When George Lucas was at the helm, I had confidence in everything Star Wars that he did. I didn't care what he was doing. If it had Star Wars on it, I was like, it's going to be good. It's George. But now with Disney, it's like I'm so like suspicious of everything they're making now. It's like I don't think it's going to be good.
No, they don't really have my trust anymore. In general, they don't. So it's like I don't even know if I'm gonna keep the Disney Plus subscription at this point. Like I do want to see like a few like the Ahsoka show and all that, but I feel like it might end up being like Obi-Wan again, and I don't know if my heart can take so much more.
Ahsoka, isn't he?
What's that?
Filoni's involved with Ahsoka, isn't he?
He should be.
So,
He should be.
I hope so.
If he is, then I'll give it a shot. But it's like,
Yeah.
Poor Filoni, he's getting all these like crap shows that he's having to somehow find a workaround to their poor like decisions they're making. Like in the Obi-Wan show, he's gonna somehow have to figure out, how can I make this work now? Like, how can I make this character work in my show because of what they did in that show, kind of thing.
You know what they need to do? This is what they need to do to fix a lot of bullshit. They need to make 2 separate canons, maybe 3, depending, but at least 2. And they can make it work with the whole, what's the name of that place where Ezra went to? I always forget the name of it, but it's like that time travel area.
I know what you're talking about.
It's like all black, and like he went there to save Ahsoka. He saved Ahsoka.
Like the Force Nexus or something. I'll Google it.
So yeah, Google that. But they can literally make it doable with that place. So they make 2 canons. One canon is like our original canon with the EU and everything intact, and then it's the Disney canon.
How far do you go with the EU? Because a lot of the EU even contradicted itself at points.
It did, but
it's so expansive.
You could tidy it up. Like, this is what they should have originally done. They should have went in, tidied up the EU, like fixed some plot holes and got rid of the things that didn't make sense, and just tidied it up, and then boom, you got that canon for the EU lovers, and then you got the alternate universe, like Disney canon, which is less canon than the EU canon, because the EU canon was mostly conceived by George and his affiliates, which he's the mythos holder, so that's more canon than anything Disney can produce, because
so there's 2 names. One's called The Gateway, and one's called The World Between Worlds.
Yeah, that's it. World Between Worlds. That's what I remember. So yeah, you could literally use that as a bridge to make more canons. Instead of just calling it Legends and leaving it at that, they can literally say, okay, there's this canon and then there's this canon.
Yeah. It says the world between worlds, a mystical dimension of the Force that connects all of space and time. Here the voices continue to echo around, flashbacks of past events and events yet to come.
There you go.
I'm not necessarily a fan of doing that. I think in general that Star Wars just needs to move beyond the Skywalker saga periods, like that. The space between the prequels and the originals and the sequel trilogy, which is where everything is now, is going to get filled up very quickly, and it's going to, like we're already seeing, it's already starting to run into each other and cause problems. We need to go. I just think we need to go. Jump 100 years ahead, or there's this little thing called the Old Republic, which is really cool.
We've got so much to explore back then.
But Varkor, man, I'm so scared. Like, I don't want Disney doing the Old Republic. Like,
I keep writing to them asking to let me do it, but they haven't got back to me.
Let you do it. You'll bring me on board too, dude. I'll help.
Absolutely.
But so many kids these days, they don't know about Darth Bane and the Rule of 2. They don't know.
They should.
They don't know about Marco Ragnos. They don't know about a lot of these past things.
Yoda talks to Bane in the one episode of Clone Wars toward the end of the show. Like,
and we nearly got Revan in one of them.
Yep.
Almost,
We were
but
so close.
and George was there talking with them too. Like George was talking about Revan at one point. Now, if that doesn't make Revan canon, I don't know what does. Because fucking George was talking about him at one point. But they ultimately decided that it wouldn't make sense because Revan died being light side. So it wouldn't make sense for a dark side version of him to come back as a Force ghost. So
I guess, yeah. I mean, Old Republic does its own thing with that, with him splitting in 2, but...
Listen, the canon in my head is that Revan went into the unknown regions and we just never heard from him again. That was the end of it. And it's I like that better. It's like a mystery. Like all the greatest heroes ride off into the sunset and their ultimate fate is left a mystery, and you don't know whatever happened to them. And it's left to you to decide like what their ultimate fate might have been. And that's so much. It makes them so much more mythological when you do it that way, because it's like you don't know like what became of
he
them.
Becomes a legend basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good. Like that's the way, and that's how it was in KOTOR 2. for the longest time until SWTOR came out and all that expansion with that shit.
Although, I mean,
You didn't
Obsidian
know.
did have their own plans for a KOTOR 3. They were never going to leave it like that originally.
Yeah. KOTOR 3 would have been good too, with having Revan and Mitri like in the party, and it would have been good. It would have been
I
good.
think you were going to play as the Exile again in KOTOR 3.
Exile Kun. Oh no, the Exile.
The Exile, the Exile, the character in KOTOR.
Is it
Exar Kun was like a couple hundred years before KOTOR 1, but
Yeah.
anyway, but Obi-Wan though, Obi-Wan. Now I did like the whole conversation they had and all that, and I really liked, I will say, I will give credit where it's due. I liked how they explained, because I always wondered this for the longest time, why Obi-Wan just calls Vader Darth. And it was originally because that was actually supposed to be his first name. like back in 1977 or whatever. That was supposed to be his first name. And then of course it changed to be a title for Sith and all that. So to clean it up, they made it to where he was like, well, my friend's truly dead then, like, goodbye Darth. Like, he just calls him Darth.
Yeah.
So I was like, that was good. That was a good explanation. I can add that to my headcanon, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, and it makes more sense now when he says that he's more machine than man.
Right,
and doesn't have much care for him anymore.
It's like he knows, like, this is how he found out. But
Yeah.
but I feel like they, yeah, there you go, Tomba. With this image, I'll bring it up on the podcast. I feel like they ripped off Rebels, because they already did this with Ahsoka in Rebels. It's the same thing again.
Okay,
and
so I have to explain this.
Okay.
They did, and they didn't. Okay, so they did kind of like steal that from Rebels, but Hayden Christensen, you know, our boy, we love him. He did a lot of his own research into the upcoming role of like reprising Darth Vader, and he went and rewatched the Rebels scene between Ahsoka and Vader several times.
Okay.
Really?
So that he could nail this scene, so that he could get it right, so that he could like know what to say and how to say it.
Well, that's good and all, but it still is the same scene, just like
You
live
can tell
action.
It is, but the dialogue is very different. Like here, he's talking. Obi-Wan is apologizing because he feels like he's to blame. Whereas between him and Ahsoka, there isn't really a lot of dialogue between them. It's kind of almost. It's more Anakin is almost looking at him as I see it as he's more like ashamed of what he's become, and Ahsoka says she won't leave him. So it's visually similar, but I think the dialogue is what makes the difference between his scene here with Obi-Wan and the one with Ahsoka.
Yeah, I just feel like it's like they're ripping off themselves, like they're taking a
It is,
a
but I
scene.
mean, I think we all knew it was coming, didn't we? We all knew that was
In a
going to
way.
happen in this episode.
Maybe he should have knocked off his whole helmet instead of just like the fraction of it to me, because it looks so similar. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Hayden Christensen in that scene, I've always been quite critical of his acting in the prequels, but
I'm
holy
sure.
shit.
Yo, he did good
nailed
with those
it.
lines.
Just the fact he has one eye to work with and just like half a grin,
Yeah.
brilliant.
It was really well done. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Hayden's always been a great actor. I just, like I said, it was probably just the direction was a little
a bit
off.
off in the prequels, because even his flashback in this was young Anakin. He felt so much better to me.
But like I said, it's the whole operatic thing and how George was trying to do it. And maybe it conflicted a bit, but
And also, he's trying to write him in episode 2 as a horny 19-year-old.
oh boy. But and then I'm trying to think. I had so many more issues with this. Well, I'm thinking, Tomba, what would you say, Tomba, is your biggest complaint of the show? And then we're gonna go over the things we like too. But what was your biggest complaint overall?
Personally, me, because I don't know if you've watched all of Rebels, but I have.
I missed a little bit of it because I like skipped ahead to just the end at some point because I actually did get kind of bored with it, honestly. But I did watch most of it.
They make the Grand Inquisitor so intimidating in Rebels, and he seems so menacing, and he's like very knowledgeable and wise.
That's another
and
thing.
Also evil.
Thank you, Tom.
And then in this, he's just like some scapegoat. He's just like some chump.
Right, but they don't. That's another problem I have. They don't explain how he survives getting stabbed by Reva. They just don't explain it. Like, we can guess and say, oh, the 2 stomachs and all that bullshit, but and he looked dead as a doorknob. I'm still holding true to it, because in that scene he looked dead. Like, he did not look like he was unconscious or anything else. Like, he just looked like he was dead.
Even if we'd have seen him in a Bacta tank or something, just to show that he was actually healing.
Right, like how did he come back? They don't explain it. He's just back. Oh, hey, how you doing?
I do like the actor who plays him. I just feel like he didn't get enough to really showcase what his Inquisitor is. Although, have you guys? It's become a meme now where he walks back in after Vader stabs Reeve and he's just like, hello.
Yep.
Hello.
I did enjoy that. I was clapping. Like, I was like, yes, dude. I was like, kill her. Like, I thought he was gonna kill her, and then they just leave her there. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
He had some sass in that scene.
And then you got like the whole dynamic with Leia, which is like cute and all, but at the same at the same time, it's like what about Luke, bro? Like Luke is he's just like nothing in the show. Like, Luke's
pretending he's flying a spaceship back home on the farm.
Yeah, it's like there is no focus at all on Luke. Like in the moment of when Obi-Wan is getting crushed by all the rocks and he's having all these visions and like images that are inspiring him or whatever, it's like 90% Leia and there's like one image of Luke somewhere in there.
But to be fair, he hasn't had a lot of interactions with Luke up to that point, and he can't really, can he?
I get it, but it's like, I feel like the show should have been more focused on Luke, maybe.
Then we'd run into dangerous territory of them really potentially fucking up the canon, because Luke doesn't know that much about him in A New Hope.
Yeah, he's just
I'm
he's
kind
just
of
an old
glad.
wizard out in the desert.
I'm fine with what they did with Luke. They had him in there as much as needed. I felt.
Perhaps you're right, but having this much interaction with Leia also causes problems. Which my major problem. Now, I get how they fixed it up at the end. I thought she was gonna get a memory wipe. Honestly, that's what I thought. But instead,
it did bother me a bit at first. But then I resaw the scene the other day. You know, from episode 4 when Luke busts Leia out of the cell.
Yes.
He says, I'm here with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes,
like, her eyes light up and she's like, oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, she obviously knows him.
Yes. I did acknowledge that, and that does work. However, there's something major that doesn't work, and it's a big plot. It's probably one of the biggest plot holes for me, and it's a pretty simple thing. When Obi-Wan dies and Luke's all broken up about it, you would think that Leia would be just as broken up. Like, she would be just as like, damn, like, he's dead, like, this sucks, like, he rescued me when I was a little girl, but instead she's like, just... That
scene also has a problem anyway, because it's like, she's comforting him whilst he's sad about the weird old wizard he knows a little bit. Her entire bloody planet has just blown up, and she doesn't really seem to react to it.
Right.
So I mean, she's like, oh, one more person. That's
what my one friend, who also is watching it, he said that, like, oh, well, maybe she's just a bitch. I'm like, okay, like, is that like what we're reduced to now? Like, we gotta say this in order to explain the plot holes?
Insult Princess Leia.
Yeah, like, I don't know, dude. Like,
no, I think she's just, it does seem a bit odd in comparison, but I think she is, again, like how she's not really reacting to her planet being destroyed, she is the leader of the two, and Luke is that, you know, still the child in comparison, really, in terms of their mental ages.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. So that was that's just the one thing that bothers me, is that if she knew him so well and they did all that together, then why does she have like absolutely no real reaction when he dies?
Maybe there'll be like a new Disney novelization of episode 4, and there'll be a whole chapter dedicated to her crying on the Millennium Falcon. And it'll be canon.
Yeah, like maybe she was holding it in because she's still like, because he told her like, we gotta act like we don't know each other. But at that point, does it really matter though? Like, I don't think it matters anymore if they don't know each other, or if they're, you know, like, because they're on the Falcon, and it's like, she could have been like, yeah, I knew him too, actually. Like, but of course, it's all retcon. Like, this is why it doesn't work. It's retcon. So
yeah.
Whatever. But the show as a whole was, I give it about a 4. No. Yeah, about a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. I'm sorry. Gotta give it the 4 out of 10. Because it's just like, yeah, the 4 is strictly all the stuff I enjoyed. All the stuff I enjoyed, which there was some things. But overall, too many pointless characters, too much bad writing, too many continuity breaks, too much plot hole that to where people got to make excuses and like try to make up stuff, and it's like if you got to do that, it's not good retcon. Like a great retcon, a great writer once said that a great retcon leaves no room for excuses. Like you shouldn't have to say, oh well, maybe it's because of this or maybe it's because of that and maybe it's because of that. Like a good retcon should not leave excuses, but should leave you going, oh, so that's how it happened. Oh,
it's headcanoning. It's one of the biggest problems just to quickly mention, this is like films like Man of Steel. I see people headcanon that so much to justify things about it. I think if you're a good writer, you don't need the fans to headcanon things for you.
That's where they're doing wrong, because 90% of all of Star Wars that I enjoy is like, it's like headcanon for me. Like KOTOR and the original movies, and like Force Unleashed is canon for me. Like I don't care what they say. Like I'd rather have Force Unleashed than Rebels. Look, for real, like Rebels is okay. It's not a terrible show, but if I had to choose between Rebels and the Force Unleashed, I would choose the Force Unleashed because it's just a better story in my opinion.
I never finished Rebels actually. I think I know I saw up to the Ahsoka fight with Vader, and I don't think I saw anything past that.
Yes, that's about up to where I watched, and then I lost interest.
I remember the first series I really enjoyed because that was the Grand Inquisitor. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, they did.
I think I got bored in the third series.
And like Thomas said, I feel like they didn't do that great with the Grand Inquisitor in the show. Like, not only just that he doesn't quite look like he should. There was that whole problem. That was like the very first problem that people noticed. But just he gets hardly any screen time. He's like punked at one point. And then
it
it's
really
like
confuses me why they didn't cast his voice actor Jason Isaacs to play him in this.
Yeah, they could have just had him do the voice, like the other guy could have acted, and then had him do the voice.
I mean, Jason
like
Isaacs I think could pull off the look for him because he's in makeup anyway.
Yeah, probably. It depends on if he's good at acting though or not. But
he's Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter films.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he really suits that snooty role.
Yeah, why didn't they do that? What the hell? Wow, I didn't even know that. Okay, well then, they should have probably did that. I don't know, and had him in more scenes, had him doing more. That would have been good. He could have been the main antagonist, bro. He could have been the antagonist of this show. Could have had a sick ass duel between the Inquisitor and Obi-Wan at one point, or something. Like that would have been cool.
I'm just disappointed we didn't see any of them come flying in on their spinning sabers.
How would they make that look good in live action? Like how could they do it? Oh, it looks so goofy, dude. It really would. That's one thing I didn't like in Rebels, because like, sure, that looks passable in animation, but you gotta understand that like when all the animation is based on live action, like it's supposed to have really happened in the Star Wars universe. So that sends half of the Clone Wars out the window, because some of that looks so floaty in comparison. Yeah, I don't know.
They don't do that in Jedi Fallen Order, I don't think.
No, I've never seen them do it in Jedi Fallen Order. Their feet's on the ground. Yeah. But so that's my ultimate ranking, and like I said, just too many plot holes for me. At the end of the day, it cannot be rectified as canon, because everybody's head canon I guess is a little different, but I go by the laws of canon, which was developed by the Greeks, the original creators of mythos, and it breaks just about every rule in the law of canon. It contradicts previously established mythos by the mythos holder, George Lucas. That right there alone means that it cannot be rectified as canon. So
what kind of mythos do you think it's? I can't think of anything that egregious that stood out to me.
I would say Luke being chased, I think, it's like, sure, you could say it happened, that Luke got chased by her and bumped his head, and then it's like, but he has no recollection of it, and like it just doesn't seem like something that would have happened to Luke, and he just was like, and what did he think it was, a sand person that was chasing him? He like never asked questions again. Like he never asked questions like, hey, who the fuck was that was chasing me in the desert? Like it's almost like it never happened.
He hit his head very hard, and his aunt and uncle say, no, it was just a bad dream. Ignore the blaster marks on the walls.
Yeah, no, everything's fine, Luke. You know, nobody's coming to get you. We promise. And then there's that with Reva, that like she exists and she knows. Oh my God, this picture! I hate this picture right here. I hate it, dude. You just tell George doesn't want to be there. Anyway, I'll put it on the screen for the podcast, but I just do not like this picture. This is like the turning point at which it all started going bad, dude.
Yeah, Anakin start deeds as you look at the picture.
Darth Goofy.
You even know it's Darth Goofy?
It's Darth Goofy, dude.
Oh, no.
Gore.
So I don't.
I'm gonna revise my score slightly. I know I said 7, but after talking about it, I'm gonna say a 6.5.
All that I lowered it to 0.5. Okay, I'll take it.
Lowered it 0.5 because I don't know. Maybe I'm just, my brain is getting smaller and I'm enjoying things more and more these days. But I found it at least enjoyable week to week.
Like I said,
despite the stupidity.
And this goes for all you viewers too. If you guys enjoyed it, that's fine. That's completely fine. Nobody's trying to make anybody feel bad for enjoying the show if you did. But it's just that some fans, extra nerdy people like myself, are very meticulous, just like George was. And if there's anything out of place, then I just can't see it as canon, because it's got to be as airtight as the movies. Like if it's not as airtight as the movies, then I don't see. And I get that not even the movies are that airtight, but they're much better than what Disney's given us.
You say then my question, how do you feel about the whole Leia's mother bit in Return of the Jedi then?
Oh right, how she said that she had glimpses
she could remember her.
Right. A big part of that, I believe, is the Force. I believe that she saw visions of the Force of her mother, maybe because Leia is Force sensitive.
That not just
she just become a Jedi.
Yeah, that is, because that was never really explained. Well, originally, it's a problem with that, because it's a retcon again. It's a retcon with the prequels, because she died in childbirth and all that, and so it's like, how could she have ever seen her mother? So again, yeah, you could headcanon it and say, well, it was probably just visions of the Force. You do run into a problem because it's like you can't explain everything all the time, because if you did, then it just bogs down the whole story. But when retcons, it's a little different.
So probably where you draw the line with it.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm just gonna give my score.
Oh,
it would have been a 4. It would have been a 4, but I'm going to up it to a 5 purely for the last episode.
For Qui-Gon.
So it's a 5. Yeah.
Qui-Gon's worth a whole point by himself.
You honestly know that your show's bad when like 20 seconds of my favorite character can redeem it.
Well, make it an average score, I guess.
Yeah. So 5 out of 10, and also, I've been wanting this since episode 1. Okay, so we're talking about 21 years of like me wanting this and not getting it. I hope that they now make Qui-Gon Jinn Force FX lightsabers, because I've always wanted one. They've never made one.
Really? They never made one?
They never made one. They got fucking lightsabers of fucking. They got Force FX lightsabers. Yeah, I seen that.
Look at that.
they got fucking Force FX lightsabers of Kit Fisto, but not Qui-Gon. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is this shit?
Like,
hello?
That doesn't make any sense, Kit Fisto, and then they don't put Qui-Gon in there.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, yeah, what's everyone's favorite points? My favorite point was, I think we all loved the final fight. My favorite part was the Qui-Gon part. Yeah. Like, it was special for me. I loved it.
I did like that moment. It did, I'm not ashamed to say, it did make me feel a little bit teary, just because even though I've got a lot of problem with the prequels, they are still childhood nostalgia to me. So sort of hearing Liam Neeson's voice again, I don't know what it was, it made me quite emotional. I think I would have to say either, the end fight, or just Vader ripping that ship out of the sky.
Yeah, I liked when Vader ripped the ship down. It was very Force Unleashed vibes.
Yeah,
you know?
just how he didn't even break a sweat doing it.
But I, at the same time, and then here comes the turd in the punch bowl. then the other ship just gets away like it's
Flies
nothing.
off, yeah.
Like, what was he pooped? Like, was he tired? Like, he just couldn't grab the second one too? Like, I feel like he could have, but he just watched, just like he watched Obi-Wan get carried away by a big fat droid through the fire. He just watched the second ship fly away like it was nothing. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe that's like his equivalent of doing like a really big like deadlift or something. He's like, fuck, I need a minute now. He can't do it again straight away.
I guess maybe, but I just feel like Vader's potential would be higher than that in the Force. But
yeah. So I like that, and immediately after when Reva fights him, quotations,
yeah,
she
he
tries
just
to fight
pwns her,
him.
dude.
And I love that bit.
Yeah,
He doesn't even take out his own saber, he just snaps hers in half and throws her half.
No, a lot of people think that he broke it in half.
So it's connected, isn't it?
Yes. A lot of critiquers of the whole series, which I've been watching a lot of them to get their points. They said, the one guy was like, oh, and now her lightsaber's just magically back together again, and nobody explained that. And it's like, I'm like, okay, hold on, credit where it's due. Now the Inquisitor's lightsabers disconnect from the middle, and they can become two separate lightsabers, and then you can reconnect them.
I do.
Into the
just
double
one
blade
thing. I do quite like the Inquisitor's lightsaber design.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I know people shit on Kylo's design at all, but I've not heard as many people complain about the Inquisitor ones.
It has a major weakness, and that's literally how Kane defeats the Grand Inquisitor.
What's that again?
He puts his lightsabers through the hilt, because they have that circle and like the gap in the center, and he puts his lightsabers through the center and just breaks it. Yeah, and that's how he defeats him.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's like the one major weakness with it.
I liked Kylo's lightsaber, so I think I'm an outlier there.
What the? Oh yeah, I do really like the concept of it. You'll see at the start of Star Wars Wednesdays, I got my the box man. He's like wielding one of those lightsabers. So I do like that.
There's a mod for those for KOTOR now, by the way. To get
I know. I'm not gonna add it though, honestly, because I just I prefer the regular ones, but I do like the concept of that lightsaber. I just really don't like the sequels, so it's like
the only Black Series saber I have is Kylo Ren's.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I managed to get it cheap on eBay. So.
Oh cool. Does it really, like in the dark, does it really look like his saber, with the fluctuation?
It hasn't got like the crackly glow to it, but it pretty much just lights up like a normal lightsaber in the dark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not like all fluctuating like his does?
No, not annoyingly, no.
Okay. Something like that would probably cost thousands of bucks.
Yeah.
You know? Alright, but yeah, for me, I would say the best scene overall was the interaction with Obi-Wan and Vader. Despite, like I said, me feeling like it's a little bit of a rip-off of the Rebels thing, I really did like that interaction. I like how it explained why he calls him Darth and why he has like the disconnect from Anakin. It's like at that moment, it's like Obi-Wan truly gave up, and he was like, and that's why he pushes Luke so hard to just kill him, because it's like he believes that that Anakin's truly dead, and that all that's left is Vader. Yeah. Which is a fault of Obi-Wan as a Jedi. It is a fault of him as a Jedi, because the Jedi are supposed to believe that no one is without redemption. Doesn't matter how far you fall.
Yeah, and Obi-Wan both believe he's too far gone.
Right. So, but that is a failure of their Jedi beliefs, which is expanded upon throughout the entire prequels. Like that's what the whole prequels is about. Partially is how the Jedi are
losing their way.
Yeah, they lost their way, and that's why ultimately they get Order 66, because they should not have joined the Clone Wars. What's that?
Because they're a bunch of idiots.
They're a bunch of well, in short, their vision was clouded. They joined the Clone Wars. They shouldn't have. I mean, everybody wants to chastise the Jedi of the Old Republic for not joining Revan, but there was a good reason why they didn't, because they knew there was a deeper plot. They didn't know it, but like they could sense it, that like something quite wasn't right. That's why they didn't join Revan. And then Revan did, and then he fell to the dark side, and then all that shit happened. And again, he had to, or else the Mandalorians probably would have won. But anyway, it's the same thing here, though. Like the Jedi should not have joined the Clone Wars, because it was a deeper plot. just like with the Mandalorians. It was like the same shit. But
history repeating itself, basically.
Like, it was history repeating itself. You're right. Holy shit, I never even really thought about it. But
it's like poetry, everything rhymes.
Exactly, dude. Oh my god, we just figured it out, dude. Kotar's just as worthy as anything else. But anywho,
absolutely.
But so what should have happened is only a few Jedi, like there should have been another Revan or something. That if there was another Revan during the time of the movies that joined the Clone Wars and led the Republic to victory, and then discovered Sidious or something, you know what I mean? That discovered Sidious was the Sith Lord and then fought him and killed him, then the whole thing probably would have been saved. But instead, the whole Jedi Order joined the Clone Wars, and they were able to be systematically erased because of Order 66. They didn't see it coming. They just didn't see it.
They wanted to get their kill streaks.
Yeah.
So just to go back to the final scene between Vader and Obi-Wan in this.
Yeah.
The other bit I really loved at the end is when he walks off and he screams Obi-Wan after him. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it was about that, just a mixture of Hayden's voice and Vader's both screaming. That gave me
Kenobi!
Yeah, obviously. He'd talked to Sam Witwer about how to do it.
Yeah, he must have gotten lessons.
Yeah. Plus, I've realized the one thing we have not spoke about yet.
What?
In the last episode, we finally got the line.
What? Hello there?
Hello there, at long last, right at the very end.
With Luke,
we also got "I will do what I must."
Yeah, there was a lot of repeat lines like that are just like, it's like fan service. He sounded
a lot like Alec Guinness when he did that line.
Hello there. Well, he's supposed to be transitioning into Alec Guinness.
That was the first time it was almost like I could hear Alec Guinness coming through him properly.
Right.
So you can do a good job of that. But no, I was just happy to hear hello there one more time. Simple things for simple people. So.
Yeah. I liked it. I just, at the same time though, I feel like it's like fan service. Like, ooh, look at like they're dangling keys in our face or something.
Before he says it, the camera is zooming in. You can see like the shit-eating grin on Ewan McGregor's face. He's like, I'm gonna say it. I
was surprised that, and God, if they did this, it would have dropped my rating to 3.10 probably if they did this. I thought for sure at that moment when they were fighting and Obi-Wan was in the hole and Darth Vader, no. I thought he was gonna be like, I have the high ground. I would have been like, oh my fuck, like you gotta be kidding me, dude. Like it's too cheesy. Like no, there are some people that are like, I wish he said it. Like
the internet would fucking explode, I think, if he said that.
What the? He's like, who's got the high ground now, bitch? I'd be like, are you kidding me?
I don't know how I'd react to that.
I would not like it. Like overall, it'd be funny for the memes, but like it would just be too goofy to be in the show.
Throw my TV remote at the screen.
Like that would mean that Vader was thinking about that, like Obi-Wan living in Vader's head rent free, dude.
Yeah.
I got a question. I just realized this. It never occurred to me.
What?
The planet that they fought on, did it have sand?
I think it was a very rocky planet.
Rocky. I
was getting them Malachor vibes from it, so I don't know.
It did actually look a bit like Malachor.
It did. At first, I was like, are they going to Malachor? That'd be sick, dude. They went to Malachor 5 to have a duel.
Just Kraya's ghost pops up and just starts shit talking them whilst they're fighting.
You fucking idiots.
Why would you do that?
That would have been good. You see, like, this is why we should be the writers, guys. Like, we should be writing this shit.
I think there is sand in the background.
Oh, you're talking about the first fight in the quarry.
Which episode, Tom? The final fight? Okay,
no, the final one. No, I don't think there was any sand on that.
Well, why? Why does it matter? Because he doesn't like sand.
It was just curiosity.
So stupid. That is the thing though. It's like the memes I feel are supposed to be separate from the show. Like they're great and all, but they should be separate. And paying heedance to the memes in the show kind of is a very minor fourth wall break. And I think
we always knew we were going to get hello there.
Yeah, the hello there's one thing, I guess, but it's just like what he says, but it's like what he likes to say. But you can't make it too memey at the end of the day, because Star Wars is supposed to be serious. It's not supposed to be like, it's got funny parts to it, of course, but it's not supposed to be like a big fourth wall breaking, Deadpool style joke.
Yeah.
Like you can't go too far with it.
It's just funny that Revenge of the Sith, which is the one that takes itself the most seriously, is the one that has the most memes.
So at the end of the day, I guess the coolest parts of the show was Reva getting her ass kicked by Vader, Vader pulling down the ship, the final fight with Obi-Wan and Vader, the dialogue, Qui-Gon at the end. That's about it.
You know what it was missing now that I think about it?
What?
No good star fights. No good fights between ships.
You don't see a lot of star fights I mean, it's supposed to be Star Wars, for God's sakes, and you really don't see that many dog fights anymore. Like when do you see it?
I wanted Obi-Wan getting chased like by bounty hunters or something, and
or even Vader in his ship.
This is why I hate flying.
Yeah, I wanted him to say that. Yeah, and you know at the end when the Grand Inquisitor's like, oh, we can't follow Kenobi, we got to follow the rebels, and he's like, follow Kenobi. I was really hoping that he would say, you follow the rebels, I will deal with Kenobi myself. And
yeah,
then
he gets in his TIE fighter.
Yeah, he gets in his TIE advance. That would have been fucking amazing.
They had a little dog fight before going on the planet.
They could have played the music from Revenge of the Sith during that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually disappointing. We didn't get something like that.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't.
I feel like it's something that everyone always forgets. I forget about half the time that Vader is a very good pilot, because Anakin was. It's just you don't think of piloting when you see the big bulky Darth Vader, do you?
All right, so we'll get Rage directing it. We'll get you producing it. I'll write it. We'll make it better.
I think they should do a panel. They should do some kind of contest or a panel or something where they just literally get fans together that love Star Wars, like the continuity. They're like just as nerdy as George was about it, and they got to get them to like just have like a council of people that all talk about it, and like they'll pitch across like an idea, and then the nerds can tear it apart and be like, this is wrong, this isn't good, that isn't good. Because that's literally what George did when they were making the prequels. Like they would have the whole storyboard up, and he would cross off what he didn't like, and he would check what he did like, and like he would pick it apart and say, this is good, this isn't good, this can be canon, this can't be canon. And that's what they got to do.
Unleashed as well. With Force Unleashed, he got like the team.
Yeah.
And he said, make ideas, talk about the ideas, make ideas, and then we'll have a conference call and we'll talk about them. Because in the original Force Unleashed concept, it wasn't even going to be a secret apprentice. It was going to be a Darth Maul game, but then they retconned it. And they retconned how the apprentice was going to look as well. They introduced Maris Brood, brand new character. He liked the concept of her. Like, they were floating all these cool ideas, and he was like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah. So that's why Force Unleashed is more canon than anything else, because George approved it. So
I understand why Disney doesn't do that.
And KOTOR was approved by Lucasfilm and everything during the time. Like if George didn't like it, he would have said, "Hey, no, like this can't work." Because the whole thing with KOTOR was either going to be a game that took place in between episode like 2 and 3, or during the Clone Wars, or it was going to be something set 4,000 years before. And of course, they chose the 4,000 years because there was so much more narrative room to work with.
They could do in between episode 2 and 3, but they weren't allowed to do anything with the Clone Wars directly or something like that. Like they would have been really, really restricted.
Right. So they were like, let's go with the freedom choice here and do our own thing. And I'm pretty sure George approved of it all, because KOTOR is very Star Warsy. It's just as Star Warsy as any of the movies, and I like KOTOR more than the movies, and I think that's saying something. So it's like if they're going to do any kind of KOTOR stuff in the future, like a film, a trilogy, whatever, they need to bring on people that are actual fans of KOTOR, like true fans that know about it, have read like maybe the comic books and everything too, like that can make it narratively sound and tight and not like contradict anything like that was already previously established. Because
I guess we'll see what they do with the game, because I have a feeling obviously they're going to change a lot with this to fit in with canon.
Yeah, we talked about this last time, but I trust Asper to the degree where they're not going to change anything so major. Like, they might change little story beats here and there, a couple side quests and stuff, but I don't think the overall story will be changed. I mean, I hope not. If anything major is added, I hope it'll benefit the story, but...
Yeah, I'm fine with them expanding things, just not...
They'll wokeify the whole thing. I don't think it'll turn out.
I really hope not, dude. We said this last time with HK, like being nice or something, or like, or not being as brash.
Fire is very, been very vocal about how much they love the originals, and they've I don't think they put so much work into remastering if they were going to change the story.
Right.
And this is Bioware we're talking about. Even in 2003, they were a very progressive and forward company. There's not really anything outdated in Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, I just hope it's not like Cyberpunk where you can edit your genitalia. But
PS2, the best option in the game.
Just get Revan without a dick, dude. Anyway, all right. So overall, Varkor gives it a 6.5. I give it a 4 out of 10, and Tomba gives it a 5 out of 10. And that's it, guys. Again, if you haven't seen the show yet and you've made it this far, wow, I guess we just spoiled the whole thing for you. But go check it out for yourself, so you can judge it for yourself. But honestly, at this point, I don't know if I'm going to be giving Disney any more money. We'll see what happens in the future. But thanks for coming on the show, guys. As always, it's great to have you guys, talk to you guys.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Always fun. We'll maybe do another one in the future, but yeah, I'll be back in a few, guys. Alrighty, guys, that's gonna do it for the Star Wars podcast. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody. Always fun to talk to you guys. Make sure you join into the conversation in the comments down below. What did you think of the Obi-Wan show? I'm always trying to get some outside opinions. Any points that I made, am I wrong? Am I right? Do let me know in the comments, guys. Drop the like, subscribe, and all that great stuff for more Star Wars podcasts. And until next time, Box Bros, I'll catch you later. Peace out, guys.